Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. My pleasure to have back with us, once again, best-selling book author Larry Winget. People Are Idiots, and I Can Prove It's the name of his latest book. Larry, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Hey, I'm terrific. Thanks for having me back on.
You're more than welcome. Hey, listen, the Treasury's postponing new financial rescue plan, at least for a couple of days. Boy, should they postpone the announcements for a while and go back and redo their stimulus plan that they've got proposed?
You know, it needs some work, that's for sure. So I say no need to rush this thing through. Let's slow down and start rewarding good behavior instead of bad.
Larry, you're absolutely right. Listen, what's their plan is like 800 and something pages, okay? This thing is huge. It's bigger than a telephone book. But your plan, Larry, I got it on one page. There's 5 different points of economic stimulus for this package, and I think everyone hits right on the nail of the head. What are they?
You know, my 5-point economic stimulus package hits every single one of the issues facing America today. Number one, our biggest problem is housing, whether it be mortgages, foreclosures, too many houses on the market. We have a glut of inventory. It's just every area of housing is a problem. So I say you increase the tax incentive for anyone who buys a house. It's a one-time deal. Give you 10% of the purchase price back as a tax credit. That would be a huge amount of money back to people and would really start to fire up house sales, I believe.
Well, listen, not only would that's a 2-point approach. Not only would we start to eliminate some of the inventory that's out there, but it's also going to get people actually getting involved and spending a little money, wouldn't it?
It would get people spending some money, and it would help all the mortgage holders replace some of their bad loans with qualified loans from people who actually do have money and good jobs right now and credit, who just haven't been able to get the credit.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Larry. You're absolutely right. People have 20. There are people out there, they have 20% to put down. They have a good FICO score. They have a job that's been for a while, but they can't get a loan.
Yep, and we need to force the mortgage holders to loosen up some money for qualified buyers. I'm not saying turn any money loose if you can't prove that you have the ability to repay the loan, but some people do have that ability. We need to loosen up the credit for those people and move some of this inventory, replace bad loans with good, and give people a real tax credit.
Yeah, how do we do that? With a pry bar?
Yes, with a pry bar.
Nice. We'll either pry it loose or bang them over the head with it. All right. Right, Larry?
That's exactly right.
All right. Item number 2, of course, a tax break for anyone buying a car that gets better than 25 miles per gallon. I think that's an excellent idea.
Well, again, we have too many cars in the inventory right now. The automakers need to sell some cars. The dealerships need to sell some cars. But we need to be selling cars that actually have a positive impact on our dependence on foreign oil and a positive impact on our environment. So let's only give a tax credit if that car gets 25 miles per gallon. And if the car gets less than 10 miles per gallon and you want to buy it, we're going to impose an idiot tax on you.
Larry, there's going to be a lot of idiot tax going on out there, I think, if that's going to be the case. Nonetheless, in fact, we could probably impose a lot of idiot tax along a lot of different spectrums. All right, now, Larry, number 3 item is tax break for anyone who paid down the credit card debt. Again, here we are. We're working to pay down our debt. How does that work?
Well, the average household in America right now has about $9,000 in credit card debt. That's on average. So I'm saying if a household can prove that they've paid down $9,000, I'm not saying that's going to clear the credit card debt or whatever. I'm just saying if you can prove you've paid $9,000 toward your credit cards, we're going to give you a tax break on that. We've got to, and that's good for the banks. That would pay back almost $1 trillion to the banks.
Right, and that would give the banks the infusion of cash that they need, which ultimately on the other end, hopefully they'll use that to lend out.
Exactly. It all makes sense. And it reduces the amount of consumer debt that is absolutely saddling our country right now and the average consumer with very high interest rates. That $9,000 in credit card debt has about a 20% on average interest rate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, or 20% or better. In some cases, I would say. Hey, now, 9%, where do you come up with that number? Is that what the average American owes on their credit cards?
That's right. $9,000 credit card debt is what the average American household has in outstanding credit card debt.
I don't think it would be too difficult to prove paying that down. You just quite simply send a copy of 2 statements. This is the before and this is the after, and it was done after the stimulus package went into place.
Seems pretty easy to me, and it would have such a major impact on the average consumer and the banking industry, and it could free up money to be loaned.
Larry, no doubt, no brainer. Okay. All right. Now let's go on to health.
Number 4.
That's correct. Let's go on to health now.
Well, we have a health care crisis in our country. I say if you're really going to affect that, let's not see how we can bolster health care. Instead, let's reduce our need for so much health care. Makes sense to me.
Sure.
Reduce the need.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is attack the 2 things that cause most illness in our society today. Number 1 is obesity.
Yeah.
We have more illnesses caused by obesity than any other thing. Number 2 is actually smoking.
Yeah.
So what we do is we reward people for stopping smoking and for losing weight.
Sure. That makes sense to me. Who do we get involved? Is Schwarzenegger on that? Because, you know, he's big on that.
I know he is, and he would be a great person to lead that crusade nationwide.
Sure.
It would be great for our country in so many ways. Reduce our need on health care. It would make us a healthier society. It would also, one of the things that we could do in addition to that was also impose another one of those idiot taxes where we start to put a $5 tax on every pack of cigarettes.
Sure. All right, let's go on to education. Outside of our audience, Americans really have been dummied down. I don't know why. But Americans have been dummied down, and they're not as smart as they used to be, in my opinion, outside of our audience, because our audience is pretty smart. In fact, they're smarter than me. But here, listen, what about an education tax?
I say that we give a tax break for every single type of education. Formal education, of course, but all you got to do is prove that you're spending dollars on education, and I don't care what kind of seminar you go to.
Yeah.
I think it ought to apply for self-help books, for business books, any kind of education that you spend money on. Give us your receipts, and at the end of the year, if you've spent enough money, you get this much tax break. The more money you spend on education, the more of a break we give you. We've got to make a smarter society so they will start making smarter decisions in every area of their life.
Yeah, what about personal responsibility stimulus credit? I mean, I wonder if we can come up with something like that. I mean, if we were to start getting people to actually take personal responsibility for their actions, I imagine we could create some stimulus there, Larry.
You know, the problem is getting people to take responsibility for doing it.
Well, maybe they need a tax incentive. I don't know.
I'm for anything that forces people to take personal responsibility, believe me.
All right, there you have it. You know, I think we should add one more thing in here too, Larry. I think we should have the Bunny Ranch stimulus package, okay? Because it would help make people forget about everything and also stimulate the stimulation. That's what I'm thinking, Larry, all right? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, that works for me, too. Stimulation is what we need right now in our economy. We have too much fear right now, and that is overrunning the way people are investing their money, spending their money, not spending their money.
That's right. And then maybe the STD, education process in the current stimulus package can come into play, okay? Maybe we have, Larry, like the Bunny Ranch stimulus in the front of the package and then have the STD education closer towards the end of the package. What are your thoughts?
Well, that might work, too. I'm going to leave the Bunny Ranch stimulus package to you, though. I've got my 5-point plan. You got a 1-point plan.
That's correct. I do have a 1-point plan. All right, now, people are idiots, and of course, I can prove that. Where can we get a copy of the book here today, Larry? It's a bestseller.
You know, you ought to be able to walk in any bookstore, go to any of the online bookstores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of those. The book hit the New York Times bestseller list. It's doing well, so
like a rocket.
It's everywhere.
Like a rocket. All right, now, Larry, you also have a website. Where can people find you at?
LarryWinget.com, WINGET. I'll give away a lot of free stuff on there, too. Just go on there, click on Larry's free stuff. You get a lot of stuff.
I love it. All right, LarryWinget.com. Head on over there today, and our viewers and listeners love that free stuff, Larry. And also, Larry, we do appreciate your time here today on Traders Nation, as always.
Always fun to have these conversations with you, Kurt.
You betcha, Larry. All right, head out today, folks. Get a copy, all right? This book skyrocketed #1 for a good reason. Head out today, get a copy of it. People are idiots, and I can prove it. The 10 ways you're sabotaging yourself and how you can overcome them. Larry Winget, do appreciate his time. He's absolutely fantastic. And let me tell you something. Without a doubt, he is the personal pit bull of financial, okay? All right, he'll get you squared away.